I would like everyone to please stand for a moment of silence for the victims in Las Vegas. Okay, and we can start the meeting. Thank you. And now we can take public comments on agenda items. There are none. Okay. And now I lost my report. Right. Okay, reports of supervisor and council members. I'd like to first report that the SAM grant we got from the state. We are getting the parking lot and the walkways done. The walkways, as you can see, are in the progress. They will be poured tomorrow, and then the blacktop will be done following as soon as the walkways are completed. And I'm sorry about the inconvenience for everyone to step in on the side. I hope everything was safe for you. Oktoberfest went well. It was really hot. I think that was one of the main reasons why a little bit less people came, but it was a good day and everyone had a good time, I think. There were a couple of concerns regarding the prices of beer. We will address that next year and move on. The other thing is I have been working with Jessica from the comptroller's office since last Tuesday. She's been in. She will probably be here another month or so. She's got a lot of work ahead of her, and she's finding a lot of things. The other thing about Oktoberfest is it really was never a political event, and it saddens me that there were certain people who made it a political event and were tugging on people's shirts while they're standing in the beer line. I think people come there to enjoy themselves and relax and not get involved in the whole political business. It never was, and it shouldn't have been, and it will not be again. Other than that, I think there's not much. John?
I have really nothing for tonight to add.
Karina?
So I too have been meeting with Jessica from the comptroller's office, and I think she should just move in because she's this wealth of information, and even if she has to send me somewhere, I know where I'm going. And so we're working at changing and revising what we were calling our blanket approval payments, because that was sort of how we just had been done before us, and so we followed that pattern, but it's actually called a pre-audit list, and so we're working on updating that list with her advisements. I've been working on a couple other things with a couple other agencies, making sure you know, our highway guys have all the training they need and that they stay safe and they make good choices, especially when trees and things are involved. We certainly would not want an accident. So yeah, that's about all for me.
Dave?
Happy to report that we got the $2,500 NYSERDA grant. Andrew's received that, and I imagine it's all deposited already. And I just wanted to mention that the fire company has their open house for fire prevention. I think it's October 15th, John?
Yep, Sunday afternoon.
Sunday afternoon, October
1 till
15th.
3.
Up in Burbank. That's all I got.
Steve?
I don't have anything this week.
Okay. Discussions, we will now have a presentation for the 2018 budget. Ryan and I and some of the department heads have been working on for the past couple of weeks, months. So I'll have Ryan take over. Andrea, could you present the budget to each and every one of us?
Yeah, we got the budget.
Andrea passed out the budget earlier tonight.
Sending Andrea away.
And now you can see too.
Microphone over here. All right, there's some friendly non-monetary wagers I think going if I can keep this to less than 10 minutes or more than 10 minutes. So just to recap, the departments spend the summer coming up with their department budgets. I send out sheets to each of the departments in September. They're due back to the supervisor's office because the town supervisor is the budget officer, and the tentative budget then is based off of those department budgets. That needs to be completed and submitted to the town clerk by September 30th. So I worked with the department heads and obviously the town supervisor as the budget officer to get the budget together. It was submitted to the town clerk's office on Saturday, September 30th. And then I think I was in here on Sunday along with the town clerk making some copies. And so it needed to be distributed to the town board as of tonight. So that's been accomplished. The process going forward from here is that this will just be a kind of brief 5 to 10 minute overview of the tentative budget. We're not going to get into any details, but it's incumbent upon each of the town board members to read through this over the next 2 weeks. And certainly, you know, if you have any questions over the next 2 weeks, you should certainly contact the supervisor and or myself. Because on the town board meeting of October 19th, we'll do what we did last year, which was go page by page, line by line. Takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours or so. Just so everyone's very clear as to what's in the budget and what's not in the budget. And then on the 19th, after any adjustments are made that the town board wishes to see, the tentative budget needs to be voted upon by the town board to become the preliminary budget, because then it needs to be available to the public at a public hearing. That public hearing is November 9th.
Yeah.
And that's it's supposed to be basically during that week. So November 9th is the town board meeting that follows the meeting on October 19th. So then the public speaks on whatever they think about the town budget at a public hearing. And then the meeting the following week, November 16th, the town board has to vote on the budget because the budget has to be voted upon and become the adopted budget by November 20th. So, okay. So that's all the state law stuff. All right, so what the town board has in front of them is the 2018 tentative budget as put together by the town supervisor as the budget officer. The department requests are on the second page that you have. If all the department requests were taken into account as to what they needed, if you look at the second page, the town would see a sizable tax increase, as you can see there in the third line down. But after going through all the department requests with the town supervisor, we came up with a budget. If you go back to the first page, where taxes will again be going down this year, as of right now, between 5 and 6%. Obviously, as the town board reviews the budget, and you want to change this number or change that number, this will obviously change. The budget takes into account all the A fund appropriations minus the non-property tax revenue, and then minus the use of $55,000 in fund balance. In the current budget, there's no appropriation of fund balance. The reason for the appropriation of this fund balance is looking over the fund balance for the A fund as of the end of 2016, the beginning of 2017. The A fund balance was $1.1 million. And looking at the expenses versus revenues for the town of Unionville for the first 8 months of the year, which is, those are all the year-to-date numbers that you see in the budget. Just because this had to be developed at the end of September, so couldn't include the September numbers. So the numbers in there are January through August. We had the town had an income of $4.6 million. Again, that includes the revenue from the ban that was turned into a bond. That includes the money for the fire department, which is really just a pass-through, but that's all the revenue. And the expenditures from January through August come to $3.6 million. So the town, as of right now, has $966,000 more than it's spent so far this year. Now, the remaining 4 months of the year tend to be months where the town is going to be spending more money than it's taking in. And so we don't know what's exactly going to happen over the next 4 months, but looking back over 2016, 2015, 2014, and 2013, the town tends to spend in September, October, November, December, $700,000 to $750,000 more than it takes in. So if you take into account that the first 8 months of the year, the town's up $960,000, and you expect it to be down in the last 4 months of the year about $700,000 to $750,000. For the entire year, you expect that the town would still be up for $200,000, maybe it's $150,000, maybe it's $250,000. Again, you don't exactly know until really all the numbers start coming in. So the use of $55,000, we felt was appropriate because even using $55,000, the expectation as of right now is that the fund balance will still grow more than the $1.1 million that it was at the beginning of this year. For the D fund, I see the appropriation minus the, again, non-property tax revenue. The fund balance that's here is, again, for that vehicle that was put in the budget kind of at the last budget meeting last year. So that's still just the same fund balance there. And for the D fund, again, the fund balance there is $145,000 at the beginning of this year. So again, it's not expected to be depleted. And so then all this calculates out to, this is the current mill rate. These would be the proposed mill rates. So this is the, if you go on the Dutchess County website for real property taxes, you'd see this 3.25 number for the town of Unionville for 2017. So as of right now, if everything were to stay just as it is in this budget, you would expect it to be 3.07, giving you this decrease. Okay. All right. So this is the A fund summary pages and the D fund summary pages. So again, year to date for A fund expenditures, $2.3 million. That, again, that includes that the budget was increased due to the bond that had to be taken care of with the ban coming in. So the expectation, obviously, that more money will be spent, but still under what is budgeted for the year. And then you see the department requests, and then this is what the supervisor's going to do. So going forward, this is the column that the town board will fill as of the 19th. Just again to save time, same as we did last year, is over the next 2 weeks, we're going to pre-fill all those numbers, but obviously the town board decides what the numbers should be. It just, rather than people watching me type in numbers for an hour, we pre-fill the numbers and then take a few minutes to change whatever numbers you want. And then this column would be filled as of the second meeting in November. So again, this is the A fund summary sheet, broken out by item, so personnel, equipment, contractual, leases, employee benefits, and then broken out by function, general government, public safety, health, transportation, all the way down. And then the summary for each budget page, which goes on for pages. And like I said, on the meeting on 2 weeks from now, we'll go through each of these pages as you see them here. And then this is the D fund for the highway. And so again, similar, just a lot fewer budget pages. So. And then this is the summary of the revenues. And so, again, this is what is the current budget is based on this, again, this tentative column. The town board would decide what goes in the preliminary and then what goes in the adopted. And then specific revenues, for different aspects of recreation and special events and the recycling center. So. And then, again, for each page, as we go through the budget. So just going through the summary pages, I could point out some highlights of, why there's certain changes that are, might be of some significance. This one where the town board voted to eliminate the position of the tax collector, that will be now under the purview of the town clerk's office. So people, be able to pay their taxes, that for every hour that the town clerk's office is open. And so while this goes to 0, there's another position in the town clerk's budget page for someone to be, assisting the town clerk's office in collecting taxes. Here's one that'll catch some people's eye, that it seems like it's, is a dramatic difference from year to year. This was where the town board amended the current budget for the remediation at Time Warp Park and for the generator. So that's why that budget is a lot higher than it has been in the past, and why going forward, not anticipating any more remediations or generators, the number comes down to something you might expect more. A lot of the budget doesn't have too many changes, just increases. One of the things that the supervisor decided in the tentative budget was that everyone would get some kind of raise. Almost everyone gets a 1% raise. A few different people get more than a 1% raise, so that can be explained 2 weeks from now as we go through the budget. The contingency fund, so this started off as $135,000 at the beginning of this year. It's now down to $25,204 because of the town board amending the budget to pay for the remediation, the generator, some other things. And so in years, in the previous year, it was budgeted for 30 or 35,000. I'm not really sure, but we thought an amount of 45,000 would be appropriate contingency. No big changes here. The money for the library is there. This is the expected amount for the third year of the 3-year agreement. And you can get a sense of where things are going with personnel in that this is the 2017 budget, and Social Security Medicare is just a percentage of what is budgeted for payroll. So going from 77,900 to 79,500 tells you that payroll is going to be going up in the A fund, a little bit. And so based on that formula, the Social Security Medicare obviously goes up a little bit. But this is just a quick kind of glance as to, is payroll going up or down? Well, if the Social Security Medicare payment is expected to go up, then payroll is going to be going up. There's still some things that we're hoping to get more clarity on in terms of information. For health insurance, we put in as you look through the details, we put in about a 15% increase in the regular, what people pay for health insurance. So that may or may not be accurate. We're going to hear back from our health insurance agent as to what he might know. And then for the defund, again, overall, the budget, just so in summary, for the A fund, it's tough to see just because of the amendments to the budget with the ban and the remediation, but while the A fund expenditures are going up, you can see from the tentative here that it's expected that the need for property taxes for the A fund will be going down. And so again, part of that's just due to reductions in, again, the contingency starting at 135,000, going down to 45,000. That's $90,000 in the right direction. And then for the defund, the expectation is that the taxes would go down as well because the expenses are declining. There wasn't much or any changes in the budget. This budget will need to be amended. We put in for the FEMA reimbursement for that blizzard, Stella, back in March.
Right.
We should be getting about $47,000.
Will we get that this year or next year?
Well, I spoke with them at the last month. They said, it's a relatively small project. $47,000 for the federal government is a small amount of money.
I know, for them it's big. For us it's big time.
So they thought that once all the paperwork's in, and all the paperwork was in as of yesterday, 2 days ago, that it should be turned around before the end of this year. So
Okay.
when that happens, we can amend the budget to put in the revenue, put in the expenditure. But again, you see a decline here.
Yeah.
And again, as of the end of August, there wasn't that much in terms of defund expenditures in September. You can see that as of the end of August, 2/3 of the way through the year, just over half the budget was spent for the defund. Again, when you look at the A fund, like I said, it's tougher to tell because of all the different changes that came to the budget. But that's a lot more in line with what was budgeted, and I'm confident we're going to be within the budget. And then no large changes in terms of revenue, just trying to be a little more conservative on some of the recreation revenue. Like I said at the previous meeting, the thinking is that the revenue just overall down in recreation because of the remediation and just less people using the park, and but still lowered some of the revenue projections there based on what it currently is. And nothing else really. Lowered the projection for the recycling center revenue, again, just based on how it's coming in this year. Increase the building department revenue by $20,000 because it was $85,000 for 2016 minus $6, and it's on pace to be around $85,000 again this year. So the budget at 60 seems a bit unrealistic on the low end.
So George is on board with that?
I mean, that's how it's coming in. It's, you know, it's,
I mean, does he feel that'll be the same amount next year?
you know, we'll talk with him about it some more, but, I mean, it
So
doesn't,
you have talked to him.
it doesn't seem like it's slowing down, so, but we'll have to.
Is George on board with that number or not?
I'll check with George again next week, but,
So you haven't spoken to him?
well, I spoke with him about the budget, and I said the revenue's gonna be based on how it's been performing, and you can see it's $85,000, and 2/3 of the way through the year, it's,
Yeah, but the question
He said-
is whether our zone code enforcement officer agrees with that number or not.
yeah. And, like I said, the $80,000 number there in the department budget, I would have talked with him about it, and he said, my recollection would be that he said it was fine, because that's how it's coming in.
It seems that would be the answer to the question.
So, and again, as you can see, you know, 2/3 of the way through the year is this number. If you extrapolate that out, you get 85,901. Doesn't mean it will be 85,901, but, and just an update, that we did get the state aid revenue last week or two, and the mortgage tax check should be coming in, and that will, that'll put us at about 115, 16, 17,000. I'm not exactly sure, because they do take, the county does take out a little bit from what they say is coming in, so. So, that's really it for now. I don't know if that was 10 minutes, but.
It's more than 10 minutes.
All right. So, like I said, please review those documents. Please, you know, save everyone some time. You can ask Supervisor Tompkins and I whatever questions you have about the budget over the next 2 weeks. And yeah, and then we'll go page by page 2 weeks from now.
Something to look forward to.
Okay.
All right. Shut this down.
All right, we can move on to the resolutions. John, do you want to read the first one?
Definitely. Give me a moment to switch gears here.
Laptop?
Too many papers.
Okay, resolution authorizing supervisor to sign computer consultant's contract.
No.
No?
Board of Appeals.
All right. Thank you. Okay, whereas the town of Unionville zoning board of appeals currently has a vacancy for an alternate member, and whereas Michael St. Clair and Larry Mattiello have interviewed for the position of alternate member of the ZBA, now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Unionville hereby appoints Michael St. Clair to the position of alternate member of the ZBA for a period commencing October 4th, 2017 and ending,
When was his term up?
Andrew, when,
I'm not sure, I couldn't, it seems like the terms are 5 years.
But,
he's an alternate. He's filling in somebody else's,
He's,
the gentleman that left.
Replacing,
Yes, initially Jeffrey Wimmer was appointed in 2007 to 2011. I couldn't find the next year.
so 2012?
It's a 5 years, so,
What is that?
so it would be reappointed in 16, so it would be for 4 years from now.
Okay,
So it would be 2021.
okay.
So for a period commencing October 4th, 2017 to ending 2021. Be it therefore further resolved, in the event that during this calendar year of 2017, a currently serving member seat on the zoning board of appeals becomes vacant before the end of that current member's term, the town board hereby appoints Mike St. Clair to that open seat as a full member and appoints Larry Mattiello to the position of alternate member.
I second it.
Town board discussion? Roll call vote?
Councilman Walsh?
Aye.
Councilwoman Kelly?
Yes.
Supervisor Tompkins?
Aye.
Councilman McCord?
Aye.
Councilman Frazier?
Karina?
Resolution approving Adams Fairacre Farms for purchase order billing. Whereas the town of Unionville desires to add Adams Fairacre Farms to the list of approved purchase order billing accounts, and now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Unionville hereby authorizes the town supervisor to execute a credit application with Adams Fairacre Farms so that a purchase order billing account can be established with the town of Unionville. And be it further resolved that a copy of the fully executed agreement shall be kept on file in the office of the town clerk.
I'll second that.
Town board discussion? Okay, instead of using credit cards, we are trying to move things towards purchase orders and billing.
You open an in-house credit account, is what it amounts to.
Right, and then they send us a bill, we don't have to use a credit card, we sign the vouchers, and we pay the bills. This I discussed with Jessica from the comptroller's office, and this is the way we should move on everything.
Yeah.
As much as possible.
As much as possible, so it's a start. Any further town board discussion? Roll call vote?
Councilman Walsh?
Aye.
Councilwoman Kelly?
Yes.
Supervisor Tompkins?
Aye.
Councilman McMorris?
Aye.
Councilman Frazier?
Aye.
Resolution authorizing budget transfer and amendments. Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Unionville hereby authorizes the following budget amendment and transfers. Amend 2017 adopted budget to create line website renewal and expenditure account A168.4 media. Transfer from line A1680.1 media for planning and zoning board to line A1680.4 website renewal in the amount of $1,272. Transfer from line A1680.4 miscellaneous to line A1680.4 website renewal in the amount of $691. Be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Unionville hereby authorizes the following budget amendments and transfer. Amend 2017 adopted budget to create line DCSPCA housing in expenditure account A3510.4 dog control. Transfer from line A1990.4 general contingency fund to line A3510.4 dog control in the amount of $1,400. Be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Unionville hereby authorizes the following budget amendment and transfer. Amend 2017 adopted budget to create line Godfrey Park fence in expenditure account A7110.2 parks. Transfer from recreation improvement fund to line A7110.2 Godfrey Park fence in the amount of $1,912. Be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Unionville hereby authorizes the following budget amendment. Amend 2017 adopted budget to create line equipment fund from auction in expenditure account A7110.2 parks, increase revenue account A2770 unclassified revenue in the amount of $6,650. Increase expenditure account A7110.2 line Timor Park equipment funds from auction in the amount of $6,650.
I'll second it.
Town board discussion?
Could you repeat that?
Roll call vote?
Councilman Walsh?
Aye.
Councilwoman Kelly?
Yes.
Supervisor Tompkins?
Aye.
Councilman McMorris?
Aye.
Councilman Frazier?
Aye.
Okay, I have one other comment before we move to public comments. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I would like everyone to be aware of that. And
Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
John, I won't tell.
All right.
John is wearing pink. I just want everyone to know. And now we will take public comments on non-agenda items.
I want to read some.
Okay.
One second, Ken. I just want to mention, I see we got a letter from Geller, Klein, and McLeod regarding our plowing for the fire district this coming winter.
Oh, yes.
Could I ask that this be made into a resolution, the essence of this letter for next month's meeting, next week's, 2 weeks away, the 19th meeting, so that we can resolve this? Because we can put this 3,000 that they want to give us right onto the budget as revenue for the highway department and park department. And I also want to mention that 47,000 that we're getting from the federal government from the blizzard back in March, part of that was because our highway department had to plow the fire company parking lots, both of them, because the contracted guy wasn't able to do it for whatever reason. So Richie and his crew did it and did a good job and added to their work hours, which added to the claim against the federal government for the grant money. So that's one reason the fire district was interested in having town employees do the plowing, because they do such a good job and so a reliable job. So if we could put this on a resolution next meeting, would be very good.
And part of that FEMA money also was park people.
Right.
We had to do their,
Sure.
you know, when Jake and those guys came in overtime for snow removal for the park and whatever they do and all the salt they use and the equipment they use. So between the park and the highway, that's how we got the FEMA money. And now we will take public comments on non-agenda items.
All right, I'm Kevin Doyle, Chairman of the Planning Board. I noticed at the last two meetings that the Planning Board was brought up, particularly myself, mostly regarding escrow issues, the proposal that we proposed back in June, but we've had the problem now going on for a while. So I'm here tonight because I know it keeps getting thrown back at me to, I guess, discuss with you guys what you guys want to do going forward here. The proposal's out there, but we haven't had any action, and I know that everybody's going back and forth about it, but nothing's been done. So I'm here. I guess I'm ready to talk about it.
It doesn't seem that anyone on the board had any problem with the proposal that was made, those numbers. So what we had requested is to put those numbers in a chart where the applicants can easily read it and understand. For a lot line change, the escrow amount will be this. For any other issue, it will be this. So that's all that we asked for, and I don't think anyone has a problem with the fees that were sent out to us.
Yeah, well, I mean, the document that we gave you guys in June is just merely a draft document, so we were looking for comment. I mean, it's been circulated to the lawyers and everything. It needs to be reviewed, and I mean, it has to be shrunk down. I mean, there's a lot of lines from the previous escrow fee schedule that are crossed out, so, you know, I don't really write the laws. I mean, that's what you guys do. So, you know, we need to get some feedback. I mean, we kind of gave our recommendation to you guys, and then you guys got to kind of drive it.
I think I recall when this was first introduced that I had requested the attorney put this into the form of a resolution, and we haven't seen that yet. Maybe we need to remind the attorney that we should do that.
I think we were asking to have it put into a form of a nice, simple.
Well, everything
graph.
else we do here
And
by
then we were going
resolution,
to- And then we were going to put that graph into a resolution.
But, I mean, the graph is easy enough to make and doesn't need to be necessarily part of the resolution. I think we need to figure out exactly what you guys want for fees, for wordage, you know, for everything. And then we could simply make a graph, you know, somebody could simply make a graph when it all gets passed.
I think the graph was the thing that was tying
That
it up,
was
though,
what we
wasn't
were
it?
waiting on,
Because,
yeah.
you know, in the past, we've tried to pass resolutions, and they said, well, this isn't attached to it, so we can't pass it. So, I believe what they're looking for is a list of fees or a graph or something to go with the resolution so that when it's passed, it's understood that that's what it is.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, I would, if I were you, I'd have the attorney draw that up.
You where you said you had sent something out in August, and I went through all my emails in August and I found nothing.
What we ended up sending out was we resent the draft out because there was zero comment on it either to the planner. The planner is the one that really drew it up in conjunction with ourselves, the engineer, and Mike Liguori, the land use attorney. And then we needed to send it over to Tom because you guys are the legislative branch. I mean, we just kind of drew this up as a recommendation, and then it's kind of the town's, you know, the board's responsibility to, you know, make it concise. I mean, ours was just a draft. Like I said, I had a lot of X's through everything. So, I mean, I would think that Tom probably would be the person that would want to draw that up, you know.
I will make a call to Tom this week and ask him to make a chart and send it back to you.
I mean, it's more than the chart, though. I mean, we have to have the actual law because, like I said,
Well, no, but,
to get him, because
The
he's the law guy. I mean, I could draw.
I mean, he can write.
I can draw, but I mean, it's not.
He needs the proper numbers to put in this resolution.
Well, the numbers are in the draft.
Yeah.
All the numbers are in, everything is in the draft, but somebody that's a lawyer, probably not me, needs to draw it up properly,
So it-
and that way we can move it forward.
Right. At the last meeting, I introduced that obviously, since there was no policy and procedure, nothing in writing, that is our job, that we're the legislative branch. So we need to do a couple part thing. And
Yes.
so I introduced Red Hook has theirs really put together. It was just one example of their planning board policies and procedures, and we could add our escrow procedure to that because they didn't have anything that specific. We did pass how we want consultant bills to come across so that, you know, that is addressed. And that really, in comparison, most of Red Hook's planning board fees, when I look at their document, is very similar to like the new draft. I think our issue being before, without revising the law or having a user-friendly chart that we can put on the website for somebody that says, hey, I want to do this, how much it's going to cost me. It was a little convoluted because it was just like ask on the spot, and apparently our consultants could just kind of name a number, and the number may be different based upon like a
That is true.
person or a different day.
I mean, what they tried to do was.
We do want it in writing.
Right.
We
I mean, the old way that we did it was they tried to do it based on what the project looked like it entailed, right? Because every site plan is not exactly the same, every lot line is not the same, every cottage is not the same, you know what I mean? So there's different factors that they would take into consideration beforehand. But that being said, I mean, we're ready to move forward with a new way to do things, but we just got to get it, done.
Yeah. Agree.
And then as far as the, the procedures for the intake of the escrows, I mean, that's still up in the air too. You know, not just the fee schedule. And I know you handed out the thing from Red Hook, but I had also submitted a separate thing for the way that we used to do it, looking for some comment.
We should be continuing to do it until something new is formed.
Which we can do. I mean, nobody's opposed to that. We just want that in writing, just so we know that that is the case, because there's been so much confusion, miscommunication. I think that we should, even if it's just the old one, even if it's what we submitted, just something that everybody here says, all right, that's what we're going to use, at least for the time being, so that we all are on the same page, because everything seems to keep falling back, you know, with blame and stuff.
Interject with that, because...
Just up to your mic, just a little closer.
Joan Miller, planning clerk, because there has been quite a bit of confusion as to the written procedure or practice. There was a practice that was followed prior, but I just wanted to clarify. Back in January of 2017, the supervisor verbally notified me that Ryan and Andrea were going to be handling the administration of the escrows, which meant that that would be taking care of all of the paperwork, the organization, the processing. Since then, I have been, I also received an email that the supervisor said that she assumed that the previous procedure would be applied, and that was in June. And she also said a policy would be adopted through the town board after a discussion in June 29th email. We had a meeting with the town board June 1st. Kevin emailed, presented everybody with a policy and everything at that meeting. He emailed on the 13th of June. This is back now on the 29th. And there's been so much misconstrued information and everything done through these emails. And then I was also notified on August 21st by the supervisor that I am supposed to be, I guess, taking escrow bills that were to the shared files and sending them out to the consultants. To date, the only thing that I know I'm supposed to be doing is taking them from the shared files and sending them out, which I have been since I was notified on August 21st. But I just received another email from the supervisor on the 28th of September stating your duties with regard to the escrow should all proceed just as they did prior to January 2016. I don't understand how are they supposed to be prior when the only thing I've really been told to do is to take them off of the shared server. And is there some kind of clarification I could get? I believe all of you have copies of these emails. Mm-hmm. And that's where Kevin is we're really trying to reach this out. Instead of bickering and going back and forth, which I think, Karina, we've spoken before as well, this could have been resolved. And it's really been a disservice to the applicants, the residents, and everybody involved, including the planning board, the consultants. And I just would like to have some discussion right now as to where are we doing. You're saying we're supposed to be following the previous, but yet we don't have a policy and procedure in place to follow, so what are we supposed to do?
What was the previous policy and procedure?
There wasn't one. Mr. McMorris pointed it out.
Right, but there was a practice.
But there was a practice.
So is the practice
and
as
it was
you typed
never
it?
supposed to change.
So was the...
It was changed, though, according to your email. That's what I'm saying. Your email told it was changed. You changed it. You changed it in January when you took it away. And I have proof Brian has sent out emails to the consultants asking them to give information so that he could forward this. Larry and Liz, we haven't come up with a system yet, but I'm reaching out for some information. He says there's some applicants that they need to know what they need to post in escrow. George informs me that he's done with the project. Please let me know if any further invoices are on this project. So, if so, how much will they cost so I can pass this information along to the applicant? That was June 7th. I have information that I forwarded you guys just October 2nd, where Andrea was, I think Andrea was an applicant requested information from Andrea. Andrea requested for Ryan to send the information out. Ryan sent it to Elizabeth and or Joan, and then Elizabeth finally sent it to me to send something out. And all it was a copy of the consultant's bills. Right. So that's where I'm saying there's just so much confusion. Right. How are we, and what was done before, you've changed again because
and on
it was
the 28th,
paper copies were given to the clerk. And I did not receive any paper copies until June 28th when the deputy clerk gave me some of 2017. I went in and requested them prior to that, and I was told to leave the office because I was BSing when I was trying to do my job. And I mean, I'm sorry, but this is, you keep slinging at him and slinging at us.
So in a nutshell, we just gotta come up with a solution sooner than later because it's getting out of hand. I mean, all this like mudslinging and blaming everybody, it's not getting us to a solution here. We gotta take
was, on the
action.
28th, I asked that you do what you did prior to 2016.
But I think we...
I can't do that, though.
All right, so she submitted what we used to do, right? She submitted it in writing, so let's
On June 7th.
Let's get it sorted out, make a resolution, and get it passed so that we have it down for sure, so that it's not 1 month this, 1 month that,
Right.
and keep changing. I mean, let's get a resolution and get it passed,
Get it
because then she has a clear path forward. The rest of the people in this office, George knows whether he's collecting checks or not collecting checks, and the rest of everybody, you know, he's confused about whether he's supposed to be sending to applicant.
Right.
Andrea doesn't know exactly who's supposed to get what. So if we get it nailed down, we have to get it nailed down. I mean, it's
And
just, I
everybody
mean, I
that's
know
involved
there's
in it.
other applicants here tonight that are probably annoyed again that they have to keep foiling.
Right.
You know, they've had to foil just to get their escrow statements and things like that. I'm sure that's why they're here, because nobody knows where they stand. So as far as that, we just have, like, we can't keep treading water here. We gotta.
I'd like to make a motion that we do what we did prior to January 1, 2016.
Well, I want to make it
Is that
a
based
little
on
more
her-
formal.
Yeah.
Like, can we pass a motion based upon what was submitted to us on June 7th? Follow the followed up to this time. It'll be in writing. We can send this back out to everybody until we really put together and we pass this whole thing together.
Yeah.
The policy, like all the policies and procedures, everything. And some of these things we already have, but like, let's consolidate them, put them all in one place so everybody knows. Let's pass the town, change the town law to reflect what our consultants believe are fair and reasonable, billing for their work. And sort of put all of this together. But as of tonight, I believe we could be able to pass a motion based upon what was submitted to us on June 7th. We'll get this information back out to everyone and follow this practice until we pass what we would consider to be procedure.
Yes.
Does that
I
make
agree.
Does that
Yes.
suit the planning secretary?
Well, the only thing is, it would only be effective from the date that it's passed.
Correct.
What's going to happen with the retro stuff?
Yeah,
That's
it's
a
going to have to
concern.
get sorted out. It's what's going to have to happen.
And the other thing would be, I used to work 18 hours a week, then I was reduced down to 5, and then most recently granted 10 hours a week. With additional workload. that's
Now,
something
I've
else
said
to
several
consider.
times that I feel that the chairpersons of both the ZBA and the planning board should determine the numbers of hours that are required to run their department.
Kevin's
That's
last
why we
number
have-
to us was 10.
It's 10, and that's what we're sticking to.
I mean, I gave it to 10 because we were at 5. We needed to do something, and
Right.
I felt like there wasn't an appetite to give her back her 15 or 18 or have any room. So I said 10 just to get us through because
And what was
we're
set for the ZBA board?
Well, there was 3 for planning and 2 for zoning, which totaled 5 per week.
Well, you
Previous.
said 10 for
I-
just your stuff.
No, I worked.
It was just 10
No.
total, just
It was
because
just 10.
I mean, if I shot for the stars, I probably would have got shot down. I kind of knew where we were going to be at, to be honest. So, if she gets all of her duties back, which includes taking the checks and getting all that back, then I would request that she get her hours back. But at the time, I mean, everything was up in the air. I just needed to get her hours because we were backlogged, everything was falling behind.
And it needs to be clarified also, like
Yeah.
as Steve had brought up, questioned if it's okay, but there's a whole, almost 2 years that has to be looked back into. So,
And that sounds like that's going to cause a heavier workload to get this sorted out.
right.
Again, I'm going to suggest that the planning chair and ZBA chair determine the number of hours required of the land use secretary.
I mean, I would say that we should probably discuss that before we go to budget, right?
Definitely.
Sure.
It's a key item.
Right.
And some of the things, hopefully we'll work more efficiently with some of the suggestions. With Andrea, thank you for sorting them all in separate folders. It makes it much easier for the information to be retrieved. Modifying the application so that we have emails for all of the applicants that have escrows. We can do that as well as your suggestion of return receipts. Hopefully they have the same mail server that they will, and hopefully they push yes.
Yeah.
Not no, because then I
And
don't
decline.
have a
Yeah.
backup to show
Well-
that it was received. Right.
How about we go tentatively with what she presented as the old practice?
Yeah.
She keeps her 10 and then can apply to me for more if we see that it's getting, too backlogged?
I'll make a motion, we go for that
Escrow
escrow
outline.
outline overview, I think it was called.
Sorry, I put it back. Escrow outline overview. So we'll make a motion to pass that tonight for June 7th. And then,
And we'll
we
see
need
about
to
hours.
sort this out over the next few weeks
Yep.
of putting together, you can reach out to Tom to get the town law, take out the stricken points and get that adjusted, work on a chart so that can be user-friendly and go up on our website when we pass it. Again, I presented it, but I'm sure there's other towns with great planning boards. We really need to put together what we want our policy and procedure to be, and then work that escrow outline into that, because I think that.
And I just mentioned the other day in your email, you know, that we already had money into this. You know, the town spent a lot of money with our engineers, or consultants rather, trying to just get some comment on this, start the ball rolling. And I'm not against examining what other towns do by any means.
Seems to be in line.
Yeah,
It's not-
I mean,
it's
a
not
lot
fair.
of them are already consultants in other towns, so they were kind of drawing from that and all their experience, so. And then, so as far as the best practice thing, that's good. And then I guess if we start running into time issues with regards to her,
We'll readdress that.
Evaluate it.
and then we can let the rest of
We'll
the
readdress
departments
that.
know, like George, things.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is when this is circulated, everybody that's involved in it really needs to know what their part is.
Right.
Because really, the deputy clerk doesn't know. I don't believe Andrea, she knew she would be involved, but she didn't know at what capacity.
Right.
So everybody, including the consultants, the planning board, everybody that has anything to do with this, really needs to see this.
Can we
and
set up a
know.
meeting where some of the parties that are involved, myself, Jane, George,
But I think
you know
also.
what I mean?
Yeah, but.
Andrea.
Yeah, and when this goes through, there should be some kind of a flow. This person does this, when it comes in, she date stamps it, and then they scan it, and they name it this, and then it's forwarded to so-and-so,
Right.
so that we have, you know, the accountability, and we have a paper trail. And I think that's what really needs to be
Yeah.
as well addressed.
Can this be, I'm trying to think of like everyone involved. So other than Kevin, can this be like a daytime staff meeting amongst the members that have a role in it? It seems, because we're kind of setting up regular staff meetings. Well, not, obviously our consultants, this can be emailed.
I just think it would be much more
So that it's
streamlined.
clear communication, right?
Yes.
Other than
Right. I mean,
Kevin,
that's
everyone's,
the
because we're
problem.
talking about Mrs. Panko and Andrea and George, and I don't think,
The bookkeeper.
is Ryan involved?
Yeah.
Sorry, I haven't looked at it in a while. You know, so Ryan, and maybe something like that can be set up so that it's, and then, you know, Patty and another town board member or something could be a part of it, but I think basically you would be sort of clearing up any miscommunication and sort of how it's been and how this is going to work, and then I don't think anything that we pass is going to be like vastly different as far as escrow procedure. But if any changes, then obviously that would be noted. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
So we have a motion that we need to vote on to pass the escrow outline overview to go back into practice, the one that was given to us on June 7th.
Yeah, I will second that motion that Patty made.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Stephen Abiag from Mountain Creek Road. I want to add my nickel comment to the discussion you just had. Corina mentioned that the consultants could propose the fees that they think are reasonable, and I suggest that any proposal by the consultants should be backed up by an explanation of what work is entailed in each thing for which they want to put a fixed fee. I've seen court decisions, and it's, you know, getting a fixed fee, in some cases they use statistical studies and so on. I think, and the courts look at it back and forth, you know, the solution appears simple, but I think that at the root of this is the fact that each kind of review entails certain actions that take time. So if a consultant proposes to charge X amount of dollars to give their opinion on one kind or another of project, then they should explain what work they expect to perform for that particular kind of project. As a matter of fact, I just had an opportunity to review the final bill that I received from the planning consultant, which started with a request for $13,000 for lot line change, and ultimately I received a bill for $500. And I responded to Kevin, who has the patience of a saint, that we will pay the bill. But however, I took the opportunity to make my objections based upon the points that John read into the record a couple of meetings ago. And what they submitted failed every test. It said, for work performed on Abiag project. So great, what work? How did they arrive at the figure? I have no idea. I have no idea regulations it was intended to implement. I have no idea what was the, well, at least I received the bill, and thank you very much, you know. But I think that this is something where the consultants may submit something, and then the public or the applicants can take a look at what they are talking about and make comments, and then the board can decide what to do with that. I'd be glad to make comments.
We did send that out to all the, we sent it out to all the consultants and the planning board and the zoning board and everyone else, and said that we expected them to follow this.
Good. I think there's work to be done, but you know, I think you're on the right track. You know, you're looking at a problem and trying to find a solution to it. Right. So I'll help any way I can.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing what happens. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
It's me again. Hannah Jones Kinnery, 147 Mallory Road. I think you guys are all aware of the project that Scott and I proposed and has since passed through the planning board and the ZBA. And I just want to ask a couple questions about escrow. I'm the one that's been foiling, because since we started this procedure 11 months ago, we've never gotten a statement other than when I foiled it. Now, if you guys paid a Central Hudson bill, wouldn't you expect a statement of some kind? And Karina, you mentioned fair and reasonable fees. We had a building that was a gas station repair shop, and we asked the town to make it the same building on the same lot, a gas station convenience store. What should be the fee to do that change? What do you think is reasonable? I'd just love to throw something out, something reasonable.
Haven't a single clue, because it was, you know, it was stopped and environmental things have changed, and so whether there was a secret involved.
No, there was no seeker involved. There were no environmental issues.
But I didn't follow it that closely.
Okay, so there were none of that. It was very simple. We just got more bills. We are now over $15,000. We got bills to review town code that we have to pay for. And George Kolb, at the very beginning of this, said the applicant should not be charged for the town planner to review town code. They should know town code. We got a bill from the town engineer after we were all done. And in this, that he did the work after we were all done and through the process. And he is saying, well, you've got like 3 things that aren't satisfied here. And they are with the Department of Transportation for the driveway entrance. Well, according to town code, we do have to have it on the plan that we will have a conceptual plan there. There's going to be a driveway entrance. And we met with the Department of Transportation, the state, and he sent us a letter saying, the driveway's already there. We may have to tweak it a little bit narrower or a little bit wider, but it's all looking good. We submitted that in. We contacted the DEC because your town engineer wanted this plan and all this finite stuff for the tank installation. Well, when I talked to the man from the DECs, he said no. He didn't say maybe, he said no. He said, this is not the town's purview, it's under the DEC. They are in charge of the tank installation. They are in charge of the tank inspections and the tank monitoring. It's not part of our town. So why am I paying this man to tell me that I need, this engineer to tell me that I need to put this plan forth? We're not into the project far enough. When they get ready to put the tanks in, the latest in technology will be put in. Not what's done 11 months ago if we had put it on the plan. Also, the Department of Health. He said, you don't have a septic plan there yet. We don't have to according to town code. Just we have to state that there will be a septic system in that is approved by the Department of Health for Dutchess County. That is on our plan. There already is a septic system there. We already know there can be a new septic system there. Why are we paying this man thousands of dollars every month to say the same thing that it's not in his purview to review? It's not in his purview. It's the Department of Health, it's the Department of Transportation, and it's the DEC. So why am I paying for that? And I just think $15,000 is over $15,000 is an insane amount, and it's crazy that never once have I gotten a statement that says, okay, this is what your money's going for. The only time I get it is when I go to the office and I foil it and then I wait months for it. So please, you got to fix this because it affects every applicant that's coming with the project before the town. There is a partial on North Clove Road right now, and they, again, all they want is a lot line change, and they're over $15,000 in escrow fees. Nobody wants to do anything here if that's what's going to happen. It's hurting us.
Anyone else?
I will add one more comment.
Hold on, we have someone coming up on that side.
Very good. Please go ahead.
Sadler Bax from Oswego Road. I wanted to thank the town board for their work on, despite the consultant fee issue, but eliminating waste and making things run more efficiently. We're getting another tax cut. That's really exciting for working families. I know $50 or $30 may not seem like a lot of money to some people, but you know, on behalf of people who are on a fixed income or for people who don't make a lot of money, that can mean, you know, that can mean something. So thank you for that. And I'd also like to follow up. I heard that the investigation into the previous administration's misconduct had been closed. And if that's the case, can we know any more about that? I would really like to know what that was about. If it's closed, I don't see why some information can't be released to the public. Thank you.
We cannot discuss that at this time. There's an ongoing investigation.
So it's still, okay.
It's an audit, it's not an investigation.
We can't discuss it.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, just a very short one. The code, Union Code, requires that the fees be fair and reasonable. And reasonable means not only that it is necessary for the consultant to have specialized knowledge without which the question cannot be answered, but it also means that if the fees are for something for which the planning board has no jurisdiction, that is not reasonable. If someone else is going to approve it, so why is the consultant putting in a bill? I'm not talking about myself now, I'm talking about the Kerry comments. Basic.
Maybe the planning board could have done this without consultants as much as possible.
They do a better job.
Hi, Dan Halleck, Oswego Road. I recently heard that the highway superintendent might be working 2 part-time jobs on top of what he's doing for the town. Wondering how he can be able to do that if he's putting in his 40 hours a week running our highway department.
I don't think that's any of our business. What he does on his own time is his business, not ours. If he's performing a job as specified, that's not our concern.
Well, if he's doing it during the hours that
Are you saying that's what he's doing?
I heard he's working 2 part-time jobs.
Are you saying that he's performing these jobs during his...
I don't know.
Well,
I'm not.
We can't hear.
We can't, number one, we can't hear you.
Yeah.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Not for you, because of the screen.
Yeah, I got a microphone.
Well, you're not talking yet.
we don't have a PA system here.
Isn't this connected to that?
No, it's just connected to the television.
It's connected to a recorder.
Okay.
It's not connected to a PA system.
Sorry. I just heard that. I'm not.
Well, it's
Sure.
pretty serious allegations that you're making on a rumor here. It sounds to me like you're trying to infer that he's doing these other jobs when he's supposed to be here working. And if you have proof of that...
I don't have proof, but
Well,
I'm
then
wondering
where
if you
are
might be
you
able to
going
look
with this?
into that. Can you look into it?
Why don't you ask him? Why don't you
'Cause
talk to him?
There's a lot of the time that he's not in the office. You can't find him. Dave's gone down to the
You're a
office.
candidate for highway superintendent, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Does it have anything to do with what you're saying here today?
Well, if somebody can't perform the job,
Well,
supervise.
it seems to me that he's doing a fine job.
His guys weren't being supervised wearing hard hats doing tree work. Do you find a problem with that?
I didn't see that issue.
I did.
He said they were on a break, actually.
He was on what?
He said that they were on a
Excuse me.
break probably.
This isn't,
I recall that being stated myself, that the men were on break.
you have photos.
The
I saw them
photos show
working.
men working.
Where are we
Yes.
going with this? We going to bring him in for an investigation, or are we going to listen to this all night long?
This is the candidate.
I just think it's inappropriate for you to speak to residents.
Well, I think it's
without telling
inappropriate
Mr.
that a few
Fraser.
weeks before an
And
election, a
I
candidate
think we're
for
gonna
highway
stop
superintendent
this.
could come in here and make these wild allegations.
We're gonna end this
Okay.
meeting.
All right.
Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you for your time.
I just have one more comment, if that's okay.
We talking about an ethics committee? That's ethical?
About the escrow procedure, and Dave is requesting that all return receipts be sent for any emails that I send out. But I was just informed by media, thank you, since we use Outlook, and there's a third-party, I guess, mail server that it goes through.
So because you're using
It-
Outlook and GoDaddy Mail, the option to have read receipt is within Outlook, but the server does not support it.
So even though I'm sending them out, there will be no return receipts. It's not working. So that, I think that really should be something that the town board and supervisor should discuss with media to see what they can work with that will support something like that. So in the interim, I don't know if there's a suggestion for me to send these out in another fashion so that there is confirmation that everybody is getting them. So that's just another thing I just wanted to bring up, so thank you.
And just ask the applicant for confirmation?
Yeah, so Ryan, is it like impossible with how our media, how we're, using the system now? Is it impossible? Is there any way to like
Hold on.
have an interim
Let-
fix?
Let her speak first.
Sorry, I'm asking the question.
Oh, she was standing there, so.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Barbara.
Yes, I think that our current highway supervisor should be in on these allegations. Thank you. Barbara Brzezowski, Still Road.
Go ahead, Ryan.
So with the current setup, it is possible we'd have to use a third-party mailer to do that. And what that does is it puts a piece of code in each email that yells back to us when it's opened. Outside of that, no. Unless we were to upgrade the email server to function with 365 as opposed to whatever GoDaddy is using currently, there's no way for that to function.
Fair enough. Thanks for enlightening us.
Yes. Wealth of information.
Could I make a motion, we adjourn?
I'll second it. All in favor? Aye.